Today on the spot, September is in full swing with a slew of new releases hitting store shelves, and we take a look at what's hot this week on Xbox Live Marketplace. Our good friends from EA Montreal stop in and give Sean McInnes a look at Army of Two, the 40th day on the Xbox 360. We take a look back at PAX 2009 and take a look way back at the anniversary of the Dreamcast and PlayStation in This Week in Video Game History. Trivia buffs get your hands on a Shank figurine and the Secret World bag today on the spot. Hey everybody, welcome to Today on the Spot for Thursday, September 10th. I'm your host, Homer Ibarra, here with previews editor, Sophia Tong.
Hey Homer, how's it going?
Pretty good. We're holding down the fort today. You know why?
Why?
Because Sean got sick at PAX.
Yes, he did. That's true.
Yes. And Chris is playing all sorts of games for reviews this week. Mm-hmm. And Brian had a kid.
Yeah, he did. So he's going to be busy for the rest of his life.
Yes, indeed. But last week, you were at PAX, not making a kid.
No.
But you were up there hanging out with all those nerds up there, right?
Yeah. No, it was a really great time. I like PAX because it's pretty low-key, it's laid back, and you just see all these gamers like getting together and just having a good time.
So later on in the show, we'll be taking a look at the sights and sounds of PAX 2009. But first, let's go hit up Tor at the news podium, who's got the latest news in the video game industry. Tor.
Hi there, it's your GameSpot news update for Thursday, September 10th. I'm Tor Thorson. This week, fans of Japanese role-playing games rejoiced when the long-awaited Final Fantasy XIII was finally given a hard release date of December 17th. What's that? Japan only? Alright, when's it come out in North America? Spring 2010? Well, that's a hard release date, right? No, that's tentative? Alright, fine. Well, at least North America will be getting the Final Fantasy XIII PlayStation 3 bundle that Sony announced at a star-studded event in Tokyo. I'm sorry, no? That's Japan only too? Alright, fine. Square Enix also used the event to announce Final Fantasy XIII's new theme song, and I'm completely serious, branded caffeinated energy drink. It's the stuff that androgynous preteen hairstylist dreams are made of. In older school news, Sega has decided to reinvent Sonic the Hedgehog once again. Nearly 1 year after Sonic Unleashed bombed with critics, the Japanese publisher announced that its blue mascot will be back next year in the form of an all-new 2D game. According to the publisher of the game, codenamed Project Needlemouse, will be built from the ground up with HD graphics and an emphasis on the speed found in the very first Sonic the Hedgehog game. That's the same game that came out 19 years ago on the Sega Genesis. Am I old? Well, that's it. The GameSpot news update for Thursday, September 10th. For more headlines like these, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
So that's a look at what's happening in the world of video game news. But now let's take a look at the latest new releases hitting stores this week.
After a dry summer, the game release spigot is starting to open up. This week, arguably the most anticipated rhythm game ever hit store shelves in the form of the Beatles Rock Band. Developed by Harmonix, published by MTV Games, and distributed by Electronic Arts, the title is the first to feature the likeness of the Fab Four, and will sport 45 songs from the group's 10-year career. Rated T for teen, it will be available for the Wii, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3 as a $60 standalone game, a $160 special value edition with standard Rock Band instruments, and a $250 limited edition with replicas of the Beatles instruments. If off-road racing is more appealing, then get ready for Dirt 2. Though no longer named after the late rally master Colin McRae, the racing game does feature a tasteful tribute to him in the form of a racing course he used in real life. It also features plenty of off-road action of the type that made the Scotsman famous, and will be available for the Xbox 360, the PC, the PS3, the PSP, the DS, and the Wii. Also new this week is Eidos Interactive's Mini Ninjas, which features, as advertised, Teeny Shinobi. However, instead of the bloody combat popularized by Sho Kosugi in such 1980s cult films as Enter the Ninja, the E10 Plus for everyone 10 and above rated game will feature non-lethal combat. Also in the mix will be stealth and magic, with defeated enemies turning into adorable animals instead of festering corpses. Rounding out this week's releases is the World War II flight combat sim IL-2 Stormovik Birds of Prey for the PS3 and 360, and the fantasy role-playing game Dissidia 2 Dark Hero Days for the PSP. For further details on the week's games, visit GameSpot's new releases page. Release dates are based on retail listings and subject to change.
So that's a look at the latest new releases this week. Sophia, a bunch of games hitting stores.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Muramasa. It came out a couple of days ago. I think I'll have to go get me a copy.
Go get it.
Yes.
And me, I'm behind the times because I just bought Trials HD on Xbox Live Marketplace last night.
Oh, well, you're a few weeks behind.
I'm a lagger.
It's all right.
But perfect segue into this week in Xbox Live Marketplace. We're going to show you the highlights of what came out this week. So let's go hit it.
This week on Xbox Live, a new demo arrived for Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2010. Test your hunting skills as you travel the world, crossing 5 continents in search of the greatest trophy animals you can find. Survival skills play a role as you face the harsh elements of Mother Nature and the dangerous animals you'll come across. Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2010 is scheduled for release on September 22nd, but the demo is available for download now. New this week in Xbox Live Arcade is the Sega classic Sonic & Knuckles. Your favorite Blue Hedgehog and Red Echidna team up against the evil Dr. Robotnik and have to play on each other's own strengths in order to acquire the priceless Master Emerald and save Angel Island. Sonic & Knuckles available now and will set you back 400 Microsoft points. You want instant gratification? Well, Games on Demand is just for you. This week we have Civilization Revolution. Legendary game designer Sid Meier brings you one of the greatest strategy games of all time to the Xbox 360. You'll lead your chosen nation from the dawn of man to the space age on your quest to rule the world. Go head-to-head with history's greatest leaders as you wage war, conduct diplomacy, discover new technologies, and build the most powerful empire the world has ever known. Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution is available for download now at the cost of $29.99. In the indie game section, you'll have to check out Bust the Wall. This old-school arcade style has a simple objective. Use your paddle to hit and deflect the ball around the angles to destroy all the colored bricks. The ultimate goal is to get the highest score you can and then share with the community to see who comes out on top. The game features 3 themes and over 30 levels of non-stop explosive action for only 80 Microsoft points. Next up is Gai Tai Gai T, a new strategy simulation where you have to crossbreed your little slimes to build them up big and strong in order to defeat an onslaught of enemy slimes. Gai Tai Gai T will run you 80 Microsoft points. Also new in the indie game section is Duologue. Join the battle on the planet to defeat the oppressive regime of Moloch, the evil leader of an army of strange and sinister aliens. There are over 60 levels, up to 4-player co-op, and in-game medals to earn. Duologue is available now and clocks in at 240 Microsoft points. Well, there's your look at some of the highlights. Be sure to check out XboxLive.com and GameSpot.com for a full list of all the new content you'll find this week on Xbox Live.
So there's a look at what's new hitting Xbox Live Marketplace this week, but now, Sophia, is the time.
Yes. Well, it's time. As promised, we're going to show you some footage from the 2009 Penny Arcade Expo.
The Penny Arcade Expo 2009 happened this weekend at the Washington State Convention and Trade Center in Seattle, Washington. And with all the top name publishers in attendance, this completely sold out show was bigger and badder than ever before. Keynote speaker Ron Gilbert made top headlines by introducing his new game entitled Deathspank. Described as a cross between The Secret of Monkey Island and Diablo, this game takes the titular hero on a humor-laden hack-and-slash quest to vanquish evil. Oh yeah, and there's ice cream. Keeping with the retro theme, we also checked out Shank, a classic 2D beat-em-up from the fine folks at Klee Entertainment. Their goal from the beginning was to create a game with a rich visual style and the classic feel of games like Double Dragon and Final Fight. In the demo that we saw, the game's hero, Shank, had to stab, shoot, chainsaw, and grenade his way through a dusty slum to the final confrontation with a bear-sized man named Toro. We also had the chance to check out a near-final build of Forza Motorsport 3, where they are proud to unveil the game's more creative side. The new livery editor will allow virtual painters to create detailed layer groups using a grid for extra precision. You'll also be able to search for user-generated content via a number of means, as well as track a specific user's contributions. Think of it like social networking for gearheads. They also revealed a few new cars, like the 1,000 horsepower Bugatti Veyron. But the biggest news was undoubtedly Star Wars: The Old Republic. In a panel discussion held on Saturday morning, the folks at BioWare took the audience through a live demo of their ambitious MMO game, detailing the bounty hunter class, as well as a number of new play areas. They showed off the game's rich dialogue, but stole their own show by revealing Coruscant, the capital of the Old Republic, as a new playable area. But that's just a top-level look at our stories from PAX 2009. If you'd like to see more, pay a visit to pax.gamespot.com for more previews, videos, photos, blogs, and much, much more from this fan-packed expo.
So there's your PAX 2009 on-location field report. Nice work to you and the previews team, Sophia.
Thanks, Homer.
All right, so if War on the Go sounds intriguing to you, though, today's daily demo should be just your cup of tea. Let's go now to a demo of Army of Two 40th Day.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean McInnes, and right now we're going to have a little look at Army of Two, the 40th Day. I'm currently joined by Matt Turner, producer from EA Montreal. Matt, it looks like you guys have a jump on these enemies. What are we about to see right now?
We're going to see some silenced sniper play here. So these guys obviously don't see us yet, and they're not looking at each other, so we can take them out one by one. And this idea of pre-combat in the game. So if I move on to this guy who's checking out his gun right there, and oh, he's going to move. He's moving.
Oh, get that guy, he's walking away.
Well, there he goes, 1 second. I'll get a nice shot in his head. Well placed, sniper shot, bingo.
Oh, he didn't need that head anymore, it's fine.
No, he's fine. And then we have these other guys across the way that are having a little convo, and me and Gino will co-op snipe them. So I'll take the guy on the right, Gino. Ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh, I missed one of them. So anyway, that was kind of a little example of one of the versions of pre-combat we have in the game, which is this idea that, you know, as you come into a situation and the enemies don't know you're there, you're going to have a bunch of different tools you can use to try and take them out. You'll have you know, co-op snipes like those. You'll have silent sniping like that. You'll have you know, co-op mock surrenders. You'll have hostage grabs. All these different kind of pre-combat maneuvers you can execute that will, you know, reward you in certain ways. In this case, we're going to have a much easier firefight because, you know, we've taken out, you know, half the men before we got down there, so it gives us a little bit of an easier time. In other cases, you'll be rewarded with, you know, weapons crates that have gun parts, like exclusive gun parts in them. Other times you get money from civilians, so it's kind of this ongoing theme in the game.
So let's talk about this environment you're in right here. It's post-disaster Shanghai, right?
It's current disaster Shanghai.
Disaster,
yeah. So when Rios and Salem arrive in Shanghai at first, it's kind of business as usual for their kind of private military corporation that they have founded called Trans World Operations, or TWO. And they're just kind of doing, you know, a mission, and all of a sudden in the middle of this mission, boom, the city gets invaded, and they don't know who, they don't know why, they just want to get the hell out of there. So this is about halfway through the game. It's being invaded by this force that we're fighting right now, and we're just fighting them because they're in between where we have to get to, right? So we're not really have anything against them. They're just attacking us because they don't know who we are. We don't know who they are. So we're kind of going in this fight, and this environment's falling around us. You know, we have planes crashing and buildings coming down. And a lot of games have a sense, you know, that like all this cool stuff happened like 10 minutes ago or like, you know, last year. Well, this is happening to you, and you're involved in this disaster. It's current, and it's kind of ongoing, you know, dramatic theme in the game. We can see here we've also worked really hard on the through the gun experience. You know, we've worked really hard on the muzzle flashes, the way they sound, the way the bullets leave the chamber, and the shells leave the receiver, and also like the impulses of the enemies when you hit them. You know, so we have, you know, those big explosions, and they have, you know. The react, if you hit him in the leg, he's going to go down from, you know, on his knee. You know, if you hit him in the arm, he'll spin him around. If you hit him in the head, his head will pop. You know, we have that kind of sense that you're shooting off a powerful weapon, and you get that kind of, you know, feeling of driving the characters into the ground.
Yeah, and I noticed it's not really black or white. The enemies are alive or dead. They kind of, you know, writhe around on the ground a bit, and they bleed out.
They bleed out. Yeah, well, and that talks about another idea that we have, is the idea of symmetry between the players and the enemies as well, which is anything that the players can do, the enemies can do as well, right? So they can get. The enemies can get downed, crawl to cover, be healed by their partners or their buddies. They can use the step jump. They can use riot shields. You know, they have tactics. So they have all of these kind of the same tool set that we've got. So it kind of gives them the sense of being, you know, dynamic, you know, living, breathing characters in the world, and you know, a little bit more than kind of just cannon fodder for us. So in this environment, like we were talking about, this kind of ongoing disaster environment, we've worked really hard on making these environments really rich and alive. If you've got, you know, lots of texture, like rich textures and particles, and you've got smoke in the air, and, you know, lots of nice colors. So have this, you know, this great environment that, you know, looks lived in, looks real, looks like it's a living, breathing environment. We're gonna take them out right there. We've also, so the idea I was showing you of pre-combat is this idea that, it also feeds into this idea of organic co-op that we have, which is in the first one, the Army of Two was a co-op game, from the ground up. It was, people liked that idea of, working with a buddy that, to get through the game, having a good time, and kind of communicating and that kind of stuff. So we've taken that kind of concept and made it a little less linear, which it was in the first one, where you'd have like a step jump here, a riot shield here, and that kind of stuff. What we've done now is given the players kind of a suite of moves that they can use wherever they want throughout the game. So you've got your mock surrender, you've got your co-op snipe, you've got your hostage grab, you've got your riot shield, and you can use these tools at any point in the game as you see fit, right? So, which makes it kind of fun to try and represent yourself as characters in that world, as well as use those tools to get your desired result.
Well, Matt, it looks like you guys have definitely added a lot, but we don't want to give away all your surprises.
No, absolutely not. You gotta get the game.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll go ahead and finish up here, but I can't let you go, Matt, without asking you a couple questions. When is Army of Two 40th Day going to be out, and which systems will it be available on?
It'll be out January 12th, 2009, which is a great little window for us. After all the hullabaloo and before all the next hullabaloo, and it'll be on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Portable as well.
All right, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That does it for your daily demo of Army of Two 40th Day. Back to you, Homer.
There's a look at our daily demo. Now, Sophia, yesterday, September 9th, huge day in video game history.
Yeah, it was a big day.
Yes, the PlayStation and the Dreamcast came out on the same exact day.
Yeah, kind of makes me feel old.
Yeah, I'm a little old. I got some gray hair.
Oh.
But for those who did not know, let's take a look back this week in video game history.
This week in video game history, the PlayStation and Dreamcast both celebrate North American release dates this week, each being released on September 9th. Of course, the PlayStation released in 1995, 4 years earlier than Dreamcast, set many of the standards for gaming which we now know today. 3D gaming was clearly established by the PlayStation and its immense library of over 7,000 game titles released worldwide.
The most important thing really is software, and that's what drives this business, that's what drives the PlayStation platform. So certainly I'm looking forward to just seeing a lot of new titles that are going to be developed for the PlayStation. Sony Computer Entertainment entered the North American market with the original PlayStation that got launched, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on September 9th of 1995.
One of the common links between the two systems beyond their launch day is Bernard Stolar.
My name is Bernard Stolar. I was the Executive Vice President at Sony PlayStation. Later became the President COO Sega of America. When I was hired as one of the executives of the launch team at PlayStation, that was really a new business for Sony overall. Sony had been in the interactive space before as a publisher with Sony ImageSoft. One person had a vision. He's actually the founder and the person that invented PlayStation, Ken Kutaragi. All of a sudden we went from 2D scrolling to 3D. That changed the whole environment of how games were developed and how people played the games.
We had a vision for really revolutionizing the video game industry, not just in terms of what the consumers can expect, but also in terms of how the games were delivered to the consumers through a CD-ROM media.
When we started the company and we're looking at how we wanted to evolve our software, we did not have a platform game. Sony did not have a Mario. It didn't have a Sonic. We were introduced to a group called Naughty Dog that was owned by Universal at the time. They came into the offices for approval. The third-party group looked at the game, I looked at the game, and we said, you know what? Let's not approve this as a third party. Let's just buy it. Because then we can sit there and say, we have a platform game, and we can market it better than anybody because we got a great marketing team. Plus, we had a lot of money to spend.
No, Bandicoot, it's an Australian.
All of a sudden, the platform had that content.
I think about the graphics on PlayStation it's more realistic instead of just like flat on the screen and drawn. They put a lot of work into it, and it comes out very 3D graphical, and it comes out right to the screen.
Fast forwarding 4 years ahead, closer to September 9, 1999, when Sega celebrated the launch of the Dreamcast, the system featured a great lineup of launch titles and some innovations of its own.
I wanted Dreamcast to be a competitive system against PlayStation. I wanted to have the online multiplayer because I knew that Sony was going to lag behind in that area. And I felt that then would be the differentiation between those two systems. I believe that would then take Sega back to be the lead company because I knew Nintendo didn't want to get into that battle.
I thought the launch, and still think the launch, was one of the best product launches I'd ever been involved in. We moved if I remember rightly, the numbers somewhere close to about 500,000 units in 72 hours. It was famously called, which I coined in a pub one night, the biggest 24 hours in retail entertainment history. I remember actually not 3 or 4 blocks from here having a party that night and with the team and unfurling a banner that said $97 million worth of product was sold that day in the United States. Sega is the only true gaming company. Unlike our competitors, we do not intend to dominate the living room space. Rather, we're all about bringing the ultimate gaming experience to gamers throughout North America. It was not the right time to talk about online gaming at the launch because there was no online gaming network. SegaNet had not yet launched. It was going to come a year later with games like NBA 2K1, NFL 2K1. And so it felt
this guy's really fun to watch.
Disingenuous to try and talk about online in any real meaningful way before you could actually connect. So from that point of view, we talked about the premise of the box thinking, a lot about artificial intelligence. We had these mysterious 15-second ads, which you might remember on MTV. Don't think out loud, it might hear you.
Don't think out loud, it might hear you. It's thinking.
And it was only, I want to say 6 to 8 months after the launch of the Dreamcast where we really got involved in heavy marketing of SegaNet and the ability to connect. Sega is taking gamers where gaming is going with the introduction this fall of SegaNet.
I think what Sega is doing with their 3D online gaming coming this fall is going to be quite incredible.
The SegaNet advantage is speed. We get players as close to the gaming network as possible so that they can enjoy true plug-and-play online console gaming.
And we delivered an online gaming experience via a 28K modem. We had a broadband adapter later, you might remember, and Quake was one of the first games that utilized a broadband adapter. But in those days, 1999, 2000, the way most people connected to the internet was via dial-up. And we had to create a pretty decent, which I think, and I take great pride, and Greg Thomas and the guys up at Visual Concepts should take to this day great pride in having created that. It wasn't easy to do. I remember learning about network stacks and all kinds of things that I'd never dreamt of before, but we did it, we delivered it, and they'll never take this away from us. It was the first online gaming experience that anybody really had, through a console, of course.
They were fabulous. They were just terrific. But that's history. That's in the past. Now it's a whole brave new world.
Well, there's a brief look back celebrating the release of 2 of the most beloved consoles of all time. Be sure to check the site for a feature celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the Dreamcast. And join us next time, this week in Video Game History.
Okay, everyone, it's that time again. Time to wrap your brain around today's trivia. 2 lucky winners will come away with the Shank figurine autographed by Jamie Chang, who is the CEO of Clay Entertainment, looking pretty sharp there. And then also we have the Secret World bag that has more swag in it, but if I show you what's inside of it, it'll give away the answer to the other question. But first up, it will be for the Shank figurine. And if you've been following our PAX 2009 coverage, you might have already seen the Shank PAX 2009 demo. In the beginning of the demo, they mentioned a game that was a big influence to the design. What is the game mentioned?
So question number 2. Name the 3 secret societies from the PC game The Secret World.
So if you know the answers to today's trivia questions, use the big green answer trivia button on the right side of the page or send us an email at onthespot@gamespot.com. Well, there you have it for Today on the Spot for Thursday, September 10th. For everybody here at GameSpot and the Today on the Spot crew, I'm Homer Ibarra.
And I'm Sophia Tong.
And we'll see you Saturday. All right, okay. Anytime I'm ready, right? Okay, sorry.
Because I've played a game where you're just like, you know, nutting yourself every 2 seconds.
Nutting yourself every 2 seconds? Is that what you said? Is that what you called it? Nutting yourself? Wow. It's an amazing game. Dude, what is going on?